business, and this is something that we've been talking a ton about the last, I don't know, probably 2 years, and even more so in the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year, how to get discovered more on AI. So that's really, how are clients finding us now compared to how they used to? And I think a good comparison that I've just come up with in my head is, this is like the early Google leads or Facebook leads. Like if you look back and with the knowledge that you have now and think, man, if I knew what I knew about marketing now back then, before everybody got into Facebook leads or Google leads, like how would I have taken advantage of that back then? And doing some of today's tactics, you would have exploded with leads and your dollar spend. I think that this is kind of similar, getting in on the ground floor right now with AI without having to spend money too. I'm sure there's probably ways that you can spend money to boost this, but you don't have to right now. Like a lot of this is still very, very organic. Um, and just how people change how they search for stuff, right? I'll probably talk about this a little bit more, but another good example that we can all relate to is I'm assuming everybody here uses, ChatGPT or whatever program in some way, shape, or form when you're looking for a recommendation of whatever, right? It could be a particular type of shampoo or garden soil or hey, what's the best lawnmower or whatever, right? And it's gonna give you specific recommendations, but it's going to be much different than how if you were to Google something recommends and you just kind of get a list of stuff, right? So let's kind of dive in here. This is really not about becoming an influencer whatsoever. It's just about becoming easier to find, easier to understand, and easier for AI to recommend you. So, buyers and sellers, they're already searching Google, they're asking ChatGPT, they're reading reviews, checking profiles before they ever call an agent. And I think that the realtors and the LOs who win in this next phase are going to be the ones that make their expertise online very obvious. And it's just the way that people choose professionals is changing as well. And referrals still matter 100%. Don't downplay that at all. But buyers and sellers are definitely validating those referrals online. So your digital footprint is really becoming a part of your network. So here's kind of the problem. Consumers are no longer just typing in best realtor near me, right? That used to be the super easy common thing on Google. They're asking more conversational questions like who is great for first-time home buyers or who knows this neighborhood. And the AI tools summarize that recommendation. And so consumers are not seeing, 10 choices. Like again, on Google, you type something in, whatever product you're looking for or service you're looking for, you get all those paid ads right at the top, and then you get a bunch more just links to websites and whatnot. AI is not doing that. They're giving you maybe, two or three recommendations, kind of explaining why they recommend that. And a lot of the times kind of pointing you back to the top anyways. Here's my best recommendation. So the question is not just can people find you, but does the internet give AI enough reason to recommend you? That's okay. All right. So most people, 5 out of 5 at least, said zero have been found via AI so far. I haven't had a ton of these, but I have had a good handful of people find me on AI. And these are just a couple very quick stories. I think when I was first putting together this class a couple weeks ago, I had just recently had kind of a random AI opportunity. Somebody found me, asked how, they said ChatGPT. They were looking for something very specific. They were looking for somebody that could work with unique income for first-time home buyers in the Bothell area, somebody that was self-employed, recently self-employed, and it led them to me. And then just last week, after I had advertised this course, I guess if you want to call it that, I got another one, and this one was like a $2.9 million purchase. It was a 1031 exchange. They, already had an agent on the sell side. They were ready on the buy side. They were just trying to identify the property and get financing and figure out good options of how to best tackle that. So these are, not necessarily like these aren't junk leads either that are coming through here. Um, and the other thing I'll just say very quickly, a lot of this is just anecdotally speaking, but I have not been intentionally setting up my online presence to be recognized. It's just kind of how I've set things up in the past that happen to align with how AI searches, which we'll get into. But now I'm definitely pushing the throttle on that more to generate more of this business. So here's again kind of the story that's happening right now. This is the behavior shift. Buyers are asking those full questions, not just searching keywords. So they might ask, who is a great realtor for first-time home buyers in Snohomish, right? AI is looking for patterns with everybody's online profiles, your name, your location, reviews, content, photos, profiles, activities. And if those signals are weak or inconsistent, you may be really good offline, but invisible online. Um, can anybody, this is maybe a different way to engage here. Type in the chat just a generalized question that you think a buyer or a seller might ask AI about your market. That could be something like, who's the best listing agent in Bothell? Who helps find first-time home buyers in Lake Stevens? Any examples that you can think of? And I guess if you're driving right now, don't chat. Who sells the most homes in Echo Lake? Okay, that's a great one. Who helps first time VA buyers in Everett? Yeah, that's super specific. Love that. Best realtor in my area. Yeah, and people may still type those simple, less conversational questions into ChatGPT, but then the AI is probably going to say, well, hey, let's qualify that a little bit more. What specifically are you looking for? So that's all good. Good, good, good. So why does this matter? Again, our business is built on trust. It always has been. It always will be. But now it's built before the first conversation. A client may decide whether you're credible or not before they ever speak to you. So again, reviews, bios, Google activity, local content, those are trust signals. And your online presence should really be answering kind of three questions for people. Who are you? Where do you work? Why should somebody trust you for your particular problem? So a good question that you can ask yourself, you do not have to answer this, but if a stranger Googled me right now, would they know exactly who I help and where I help them? So here's the solution, and it's not complicated. It's kind of like everything else in this business. It's consistency, right? Become AI recognizable by repeating the same clear signals everywhere across the board. You're building credibility through reviews, active profiles, and specific local expertise. What did I miss here? Oh, somebody else joined. There we go. So the playbook version is kind of clarity, trust, activity, and relevance. So if you were to get started on this tomorrow, what do you want to be known for over the next 90 days, right? That could be first-time home buyers, listings in a certain neighborhood, move-up buyers, luxury homes, relocation client, investors, downsizers. There's all these different niches that you can tailor what you're known for online, right? So here's kind of some of the things that AI looks at. Again, we've kind of talked through some of these a little bit already, but AI does not know you personally. It's reading these signals that it's picking up from everywhere. Some of these important signals include reviews. Reviews have always been super powerful through Google, through Facebook, through whatever website, experience.com. Your Google business profile, that's still a powerhouse of information, qualified information that AI is pulling from. Bios, your bio should be consistent across multiple websites. Your personal website or maybe your brokerage's website that's, they sponsor a website for you. What's your local authority? Is there consistency across the platforms? And then how recent is your activity? Are you keeping up with that engagement on these different sites? So the more consistent that these signals are, the easier it is for these search tools to understand you and what you do, who you serve, where you serve. So think of it as kind of like a digital storefront that works even when you're not on your phone. Uh, Another maybe just self-reflection piece here. Don't have to type this in a chat, but maybe write it on a piece of paper or something. Um, and just rate yourself on this question. How strong are my current online trust signals? How strong are my current online trust signals? Okay, so let's get into actually building something out here. So we want to create a consistent digital identity. You want to use the same professional name everywhere. You want to make sure that your brokerage, phone number, service area, bio, and headshot are all consistent. Again, I was kind of just talking about how I did not tailor all of my stuff online to match what AI is looking for. I just happened to set it up that way. I was like, oh, I want to have consistency across the board. Change my headshot. I'm going to change it on Facebook and Instagram and Google and this and that and the other. Um, so that was more just lucky. Um, don't make AI guess whether your Zillow profile, Google profile, website bio, and social profiles are the same person, right? If you just tailor it to be consistent across the board, it's going to pick that up. So your positioning should be super simple. I help this type of client in this market with this result. So this is another, maybe throw this one into the chat, just 30 seconds or so to give an example of I help who in what market with what problem. An example could be I help first-time home buyers in Snohomish County buy with confidence. I help move up sellers in Bothell sell strategically and buy their next home. Any good examples? Don't be too shy. Come on, give me one example at least. I help who in what market with what problem. Oh, you're killing me here. Okay, moving on.
That's too much to type, man.
You got to type fast in this business. Time's up. It's all good. Okay, Christy said, I help sellers in Echo Lake maximize their return and sell the area because I live here too. Okay, excellent. Love that. All right, step two. So upgrading your reviews. Reviews are not just testimonials anymore. They're searchable proof, right? Another one of those trust signals. A weak review is just something saying, "Hey, great realtor." That's it. That doesn't really it gives you a good review, but it doesn't really do anything for AI. A strong review is going to, include things like the location, the client type, the transaction type, the communication, the outcome. When clients mention neighborhoods, cities, buyer type, selling situation, it really helps AI understand your specific expertise. And that's where, when they're searching, it's going to read through those reviews along with everything else and say, "Oh yeah, okay, I know Chris, helps first-time home buyers that are veterans in the Bothell area with, down payment assistance for closing, whatever it is, right? It can get super, super specific. So again, this is probably one of the most practical takeaways here. And you're not asking clients to write fake reviews. You're helping them be specific, right? So I don't think I put this in here, but I've got some different templates that I can send out after the fact if you want one, where it basically is just kind of something that you can send to your clients to help them better write their reviews. And I know for some people it's hard enough just to get people to write reviews, but this can be one of those tools that is just makes it a little more specific for them to think through as they're reviewing you, right? It's just gently guiding the client. So again, specificity matters: location, transaction type, communication, expertise, and result. So a quick script could be, would you mind leaving a quick review about your experience? If you could mention the city or neighborhood, whether you were buying or selling, and anything that helped you feel confident, that really helps future clients find me, right? Um, and after this is one simple call to action, and I promise this is not the whole purpose of this class, but if you want to practice this, leave me a good quality Google review. I'll do the same for you after this. Something that is tailored well for AI to be able to find you better. Okay, step three, completing every profile. So again, I talked about this before, but Google Business Profile is usually the best starting point. It's still just an absolute powerhouse that AI is pulling from. Then you want to make sure that places like Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, all the social medias, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, brokerage website, you want to make sure that those all match really well. Incomplete profiles are creating more doubt. So if you're going to have an incomplete profile, you might as well just delete it. Either finish it, get it consistent, or just get rid of it because it's creating more problems if it's not consistent. And again, that's creating really good credibility for the AI, right? So here's another quick chat question. What platform? This was just in general, making
Which one
sure
did
that
you say if it's incomplete, just remove it? Which one?
any platform in general,
Oh,
if
got
it's
it.
incomplete, I would just get rid of it.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So here's a chat question. Which profile do you think is most outdated for agents and loan officers? Google, Zillow, Realtor.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. And there's not an answer to this either. I'm just curious. What do you think is most outdated? LinkedIn, Hannah says. Okay. And I guess a different way to ask that is as you look at your social profiles and other types of profiles, what do you think is the one that needs to be updated? Which is like super out of date that you haven't been on in a long time? Website, okay. So, Chris, do you have a personal website or is it just hosted by John L. Scott?
It's it's hosted by John L. Scott, but it's my personal website. Is that what you're asking?
Uh, yeah, kind
No.
of. I know like some people will have like a vanity website, right? Where it's like, oh, chriscruise.com or whatever. So it's not like
Mhm.
directly affiliated with John L. Scott, but
Okay,
anyway.
then no.
Okay. It's the same thing with me, right? Like mine's through Guild Mortgage,
Yeah.
guildmortgage.com/Chris Yeakel, but I don't have a vanity website. So Chrissy says, embarrassingly, all of them. Hey, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to take some steps to change that, hopefully. All right. So step four, building local authority. This is probably one of the biggest opportunities for agents. AI needs to connect your name to the market that you're serving. So you can, post neighborhood content, local market updates, community spotlights, business partnerships, reviews that mention cities or communities. Again, you want your online footprint to say this person is active and trusted in this specific market, right? So a good thing that you could do is just write down three neighborhood cities or communities that you want your name connected to. And again, you can get very specific about this. Sometimes I go way too broad. Oh, I help lend across the Pacific Northwest. That's great. That tells people I can lend in a lot of different places, but it's not super specific when it comes to AI and the questions that people are asking. They're not asking for a lender in the Pacific Northwest. They're asking for a good quality lender that helps VA first-time home buyers in Lake Stevens, right? And I think doing that does not limit you either, right? If you help people in King, Pierce, and Snohomish counties and Thurston County and Island County or whatever, You're not necessarily limiting yourself by being specific that you work in Bothell and Snohomish and Everett. Okay. You could also think about some different content that you can post about each one of these, right? Like three things buyers should know about Snohomish right now. What $750,000 buys in Lake Stevens? Best questions to ask before listing in Bothell. Local business spotlight in downtown Snohomish. And again, I said this at the very beginning. This is not about becoming an influencer and doing a bunch of videos. A lot of us are already doing these types of videos or content pieces. So this just kind of builds on that even further. Okay. Step five, staying active. Probably easier said than done, but important nonetheless. A stale profile looks inactive, right? And staying active does not mean that you have to post every single day. A simple playbook suggests that easy weekly routine could be like one Google post, a few photos, one Q&A, review asks, responding to reviews, um, and having that as kind of like a weekly standard, right? And the goal is adoption, not perfection. The goal is adoption, not perfection. Just building some level of consistency online. This was something that I started being a lot more intentional about a few months ago. I've always kind of focused on my Google reviews, but I specifically started setting aside half an hour every Thursday morning, put it on my calendar at 8:30 that I need to go into my Google profile. I need to ask for a couple reviews from recent closings if I hadn't got one yet. I need to make sure that I'm responding to my Google reviews if I haven't responded to them yet, and then posting on my Google page some new product, new service, whatever it may be. Um, and that's another thing I didn't really put in here, but posting services or events or products. I know it's obviously a little bit different, realtors versus lenders, but posting something like that on your Google page is a huge way to make that naturally become discoverable. Not just from an AI perspective, but just from a traditional how people Google stuff perspective. Okay. So here's what I would suggest that you do this week. And again, some of you might be already way on top of this, which is great. And this might be brand new for a lot of other people. That's great too. Just doing something is awesome. You don't have to leave here with 20 different ideas, but take 3 to 5 actions that you can go home with. I kind of posted this question in my Friday market recap, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, but Google yourself, use ChatGPT on yourself, and audit yourself. What does it say about you? And whether I should have specified when I threw that question out, because a lot of people, texted me back and said, well, it says that I should just use myself as a realtor because it knows me so well. It's like, yes, you got to use a mode where it's not taking your past history, right? So do it kind of on a fresh chat with, you got to kind of instruct it not to remember your history, I guess, or just use an AI tool that you've never used before. But audit yourself. That's the point. See who it recommends, and if it's not recommending you, why? Or you can ask it questions about yourself, right? Well, what about Christy Packard? Why should I use her? What do you know about Christy Packard? Tell me about Joanne Shattuck. What do you know about this agent? So that's one thing. And then just start updating your Google business profile. Again, that is such a super important one still. Ask for 3 detailed reviews from past clients. As many transactions as we all close, I know that we all don't capture 100% of them getting us reviews. And guess what? It's totally okay to go back a year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, and say, hey, Jim, didn't you have a great experience working with me? Or whatever your script is. I loved working with you. Hey, would you mind leaving me a quick Google review? I know that was a long time ago, but I'm really hoping to grow my reviews here because it's helping other clients find me. And as you remember, my business is solely based on referrals. So if you could do that, that'd be super helpful. Easy ask. Nobody wants to say no to that. Post one local market update. And then you're not going to do this in 1 week necessarily, but start the process of at least making your identity consistent everywhere. That can be kind of part of the audit that you're doing up front is okay, let me look at my Zillow, let me look at my Google, let me look at my, brokerage website. Okay, I got to fix these things. Just write it all down, make a list for yourself, and then slowly do it over time. If you're motivated, knock it all out in a week, but don't get overwhelmed by it, right? So here's some key takeaways. AI visibility, it's not accidental. Realtors and other professionals who show up are building trust online intentionally. And like I said at the beginning, I did start this accidentally just with how I had set things up, but now I'm being much more intentional and proactive about increasing that visibility. I'm going to be clear, credible, active, and locally relevant and make it easy for consumers and AI to understand why people should trust you, right? The market is changing, but the fundamentals are still trust, clarity, and relationship. The difference now is that your trust has to be visible online before the conversation starts. So start small, pick one market, pick one client type, make a weekly routine out of this, and just become easier to understand and easier to recommend. I really don't have any closing thoughts or call to actions here, but if you want to do like a one-on-one and have me help you audit this, I'm happy to do that. Again, I'm not claiming to be an AI expert whatsoever, but I've dug into this and played around with this enough since ChatGPT started, whenever that was, that I feel fairly confident. So if you want help, reach out. I'm happy to do that. And that's what I got for you.